So we're on to green now, and anyone who wants to take this one, a card that jumps out at you.
The very first card on the spoiler in green, Ambush Viper. That card is a common green removal spell, and that's it. It's a common green removal spell that can trade. That card's a flash bear that trades with everything, and it's green. And green does not ever get that effect, ever.
So let's just make it clear. If I have this in my sealed pool and I'm playing green, this is an automatic auto snap. Put it in my deck.
Yes, you play if you're playing green, you play Ambush Viper because he's killed their things, and there's no removal. There's not removal in this format, and it trades with that gigantic 5/5 that you don't want to eat you.
Right. The only color he's not insane against is red, and that's because they have so much first strike. Outside of that, you're killing almost every big creature that comes at you.
Another thing that I was taught to look at with the word flash is you can almost turn that word into the word haste, because when you play this creature, you're either using him as removal, like you said, or you're flashing him to play at the end step, and then he's ready to attack as soon as it's your turn.
Yeah, sure. I think Dark Thicket Wolf is pretty good in this format. It's like a bad Basking Root Walla, but palm creatures are always a pain to deal with. If they get blocked, you kill their guy, and if they don't, you get free damage in. And I haven't looked at it too well, but green seems pretty aggressive from what I've seen, and free damage is a great way to push the aggressiveness.
I mean, just looking at this guy, I mean, that's 4 damage on turn 3 if you want it to be. I mean, that's really aggressive.
Right past it is an interesting card that actually uses one of the new keywords in this set. Daybreak Ranger and Nightfall Predator. Daybreak Ranger is good. Is one of the few flip cards I think that are good before it flips and good after it flips. Daybreak Ranger lets you tap it to deal damage to creatures with flying. 2 damage to a creature with flying. It's a pretty good amount of damage. It hits a lot of the white flyers. It can supplement one of your other creatures doing damage to it. Like, this guy's fine on his own if he's not flipping. And once he is flipping, he is enormous and is removal on his own. Like, fight is something we've had creatures that do before.
Yeah, contested plus. Basically.
Yeah. Dealing damage to target creature and then having that creature deal damage to its power back to it lets you create like situations where you're just paying a red mana, tapping him, and killing something.
Do you play him if you're not in red?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He's still good before he flips, like I said, and he's still 4/4 after he flips. So he's still fine. And like in Seal, definitely he's the type of card where I would play maybe a mountain or 2 in my deck just to splash his ability.
One thing about this set is that green is going to want to be paired with red a lot. This Werewolf archetype gets a lot more powerful when your effects like Full Moon's Rise and Moon Mist are actually affecting your whole board instead of 1 to 2 green creatures.
You mentioned Full Moon's Rise. All of the werewolf creatures are werewolves before they transform. So this is an Anthem effect that gives all your werewolves trample, but at any time you can sacrifice just to regenerate all your werewolves creatures. So it makes combat dangerous no matter what you have in play every single turn for your opponent.
And it can just totally negate removal spells like Victim of Night. That doesn't affect it anyways, but burn spells. Like Brimstone Valley, you just can completely negate that and just take them out of combat.
And at 2 mana, that's a really nice price for an effect like that.
Yeah, protecting your entire team is pretty much always worth it. And I actually think there's enough werewolves to just play werewolves. Like, you just draft werewolves as an archetype. Like, Moon Mist seems like a bomb in that, like, if you can draft that archetype. Full Moon's Rise seems like it can be a bomb if you draft that archetype. There's plenty of support cards for it. And all of the werewolves seem crazy good and limited.
The only thing to note is these cards do nothing on their own. So you need to have a high amount of these creatures, and you want to be able to play this type of card before you start dropping them, so that you're not caught having this with nothing else.
Are there any good instants in green other than like a creature with flash?
How good? Well, talk about Moon Mist transforming all humans. I mean, I can see that as possibly being a good card, possibly being a bad card. I think that's another type of depends on your archetype.
Yeah, if you drafted the werewolf archetype, then it's going to flip all of your guys into werewolves. It can't be used against you to flip them back. It's going to flip all your guys into werewolves and then create a one-sided fog for your team that turn.
I mean, the issue you got to look at is that it's transform all humans, so that includes your opponents as well.
Right.
Right.
So, like, if you're playing in like a mirror match type of situation, then it's obviously going to be less good, but against everything else, it's probably just going to be insane.
Ranger Guile, if you're talking about instants, just countering a removal spell is pretty powerful. Like, it gets hexproof, so burn spells, bounce, etc. You can just erase that and then make it bigger even. I think that's going to be a nice trick. Unlike normal pump spells that just are so one-sided.
And it is nice to be able to play a bomb and leave one green open, knowing that you're going to be safe till the next turn.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I do like, if, on the same topic of instance, Spidery Grasp. It's 2 mana and a green just to give a creature +2/+4 and reach. We all love Giant Spider and Corsa, and this is easily a card that can just say kill target creature with flying.
Or any other creature for that matter.
Agreed.
This card's insane. There's a card called In Spirit, back in Onslaught, that was an uncommon for white. It was the same effect, except it didn't get reach. And that card was like a 3rd to 4th pick because you would just blow people out. It was really, really good. And green always has pump spells, but they never have untap effects. So surprise with your big guy is a big effect for green. It's similar to the Cobra, where you get a surprise kill spell.
I know we wanted to stay away from rares, but Splinter Fright, that is just such an interesting card, and I was hoping you guys would want to talk about it. Getting the cards into the graveyard, but that doesn't seem to be a huge theme in green like it is in blue, but I don't know. Is this something that by turn 3, I mean, can you even play it?
One of my favorite, like, by turn 3, you would hope you might not be able to play it, but, like, playing it after turn 3 is fine, because this guy's could just be monstrous. Like, pairing blue-green is actually one of my favorite archetypes in Limited, because you get all sorts of pressure and card advantage, and you can play a really sweet tempo strategy, which is what I like to do when I play Magic. Putting cards in your graveyard for free, which basically is a pump spell for this guy, also enabling all of your other blue creatures, seems like this guy is perfect for that kind of archetype. He's also potentially sweet in Constructed. I know Jacob Van Lunen wrote an article on Wizards Building on a Budget website about this guy specifically and a couple of his buddies being in a blue-green deck just like that.
As far as more common things to see, we didn't mention one card that I think is pretty powerful, Festerhide Boar. Hill Giants with Trample are always good, but when it can get so much bigger in what seems to be an aggressive color, I think it's going to be one of the better commons in the color.
Yeah, you're attacking, and you're attacking, just doing combat. You're attacking on turn 3 with your, or on turn 4 with your 2/3 drop, whatever, and you trade, one of your guys trades with their guy, and then you drop this guy, which is a enormous 5/5 trampler.
Yeah.
On turn 4 is, this guy could just be ridiculous. It's could be probably one of the better creatures in green for sure, and might just like some people are just not going to be able to beat that card if it comes into play Morbid on turn 4.
Yeah, it's similar to Gorehound Minotaurs, but it's just better. Like, it's splashable. You don't need to actually push through. You're fine with just trading, and it has trample, so they're not going to be chumping it to buy a ton of time.
Well, the interesting part about this and M12 is M12, with their mechanic, you wanted to block in order to make sure that they didn't turn it on. And this set, it seems like you don't want to block, so that way they don't hit the Morbid, and they only got a 3/3 instead of a 5/5.
Right, it depends on the color, but I agree.
And even without the Morbid, I think a 3/3 for 4 with Trample at common is very good.
Hill Giant with Trample? Yes, sir.
Similar effect, Woodland Sleuth, if you're playing it, is another Morbid creature in green, one of several, and he's going to bring back, his Morbid's returning creature at random from graveyard to hand. Like, hopefully you're playing mostly solid creatures, and this guy's just going to bring back something really powerful every time he does this for you. If you trade with one of their guys on turn 3 when you're attacking and you play that guy, you're getting the guy you traded with back. So you're just
a better Gravedigger in that case.
So green Gravedigger seems pretty powerful. It's not usually a thing you get to toy around with.
And at common, no less.
Yeah, and at common, that seems like another really powerful green common creature. Go with some more of the different werewolves and stuff like that. Playing either of those guys on your werewolf curve is still fine too. Like, if you're playing werewolf guys and then gigantic boar is still good, and get your guy back guy is still good. So all of the green cards seem to work really well together in an aggressive deck.
One guy that I like is Hamlet Captain, the 2-mana 2/2. This guy's really, really well themed. Attacking or blocking, it gives all other human creatures +1/+1. I mean, I can see this guy being drafted around, but I also can see this guy going over into constructed play as well.
Well, I think green-white generally is bad in limited, but when there's such a small amount of removal, it's actually possible it's an archetype. And white definitely has the theme you need to be using this kind of card with.
Yep.
White's cards are already aggressive. We're seeing green as aggressive. You could see green-white being one of the most powerful aggro strategies.